let's face it, everyone was going to see this movie just for Keanu Reeves, and that's kind of sad to say because Ana de Armas herself is a fantastic actress and can prove herself to kick a lot of ass with what she did in her scenes in No Time to Die. But let's face it, in a franchise that the poster boy himself, Keanu Reeves, shadows over the entire marketing, I feel like, for this movie, it's bound to pretty much catch up with everyone and say, yeah, I just went to see John Wick. As much as people don't want to admit that you wanted to see a really tough as nails, badass actress, let's face it, everyone went to go see the Baba Yaga in some form or way. That's what it takes these days to convince people to see something.
Looks like you already have.
From the world of John Wick, Ballerina, or just simply Ballerina, just to keep this short and sweet, is directed by Les Wiseman and written by Shay. Hatten. The film stars Ana de Armas, Anjelica Huston, Gabriel Byrne, Lance Reddick, Norma Reedus, Ian McShane, and Keanu Reeves. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, an assassin trained in the traditions of the Ruska Roma organization sets out to seek revenge after her father's death. The John Wick universe is one of my favorite action series in recent years. An action franchise starting off in the mid to late 2010s. This is one of those series that just keeps on going, and for me, I always have a fun time watching these films. Keanu Reeves made a huge comeback with this movie because at the time didn't have the career momentum that he has now. Back then, post Matrix, he was kind of seen as a laughing matter. He was kind of seen as a joke, somebody that you would put in bad movies. And not to say that it degrades Keanu Reeves as an actor, I'm just saying, like, that is what legit people had said for many years. And then all of a sudden, with John Wick, you started to see him get more prominent roles and be put in bigger projects because of the success of that first John Wick movie. And it's really helped his career, let's be honest. I honestly think without John Wick, I don't know where Keanu Reeves' career could have been if not for this movie helping redefine his image and make him what he is today. The first and fourth film are some of the best action films of all time, at least for me. I still think the first movie is the best one of them all, but the fourth comes so close. They're like at the same rating that I gave them, both perfect scores easily. But I still think the first movie still beats out the fourth film, but the fourth movie combines everything that 2 and 3 had and just makes it 10 times even better. Aside from the underwhelming show, The Continental, we're getting another spin-off, but in the form of a movie with Ana de Armas front and center. And I mentioned The Continental because, if you ask me, I think that that is probably the only downside that I have seen for the John Wick universe because I found that show to be very average and nothing all that special about it. What's so funny is Ian McShane, when he did an interview talking about that show, I liked his idea. If you haven't heard what his idea was for a backstory between Winston and Sharon, Lance Reddick's character, I would highly look it up and hear what he had to say because I think that was a better idea than what the show gave us instead. Not to say that the show couldn't have done that, and I mean, of course it did, but how it was all executed and how it was all played out, I wasn't crazy about it, but I kind of like Ian McShane's idea a lot better. But we are now getting a film, but now focusing on a new character, this time Eve Macaro in the form of Ana de Armas. Though it was delayed due to reshooting additional fight sequences because originally it was set to be released last year around this time, but Chad Stahelski, he came in, saw some of the fights, they weren't working well, so they had to kind of go back and add a little bit more just so that way it had the John Wick vibes to it. Hopefully it wouldn't ruin the end results. However, this turned out well and was ultimately a good time. I was legit surprised. Even usually with reshoots, if you saw my review for Captain America Brave New World, you know that reshoots depends on how they are, but sometimes you'll have reshoots in movies. I mean, most of the time, all of them do, but most of the time, either you know some or you don't. That movie had noticeable reshoots. This movie, I can maybe see some, but not as much as that film. Minus the minor issues, I was actually really impressed with how this movie turned out and how much fun I had with it. But before addressing my issues, here are the few positives that I have. The performances are all solid. Ana de Armas provides the balance of rage and determination as Eve Macaro. Along with the supporting cast, everyone fills their roles out really well. For Ana de Armas to not only portray a character that is supposed to have a lot of rage and anger building in her that she's been burning up for years with, she also has to play a woman that can really kick a lot of ass. And for Ana de Armas to throw herself into the fight sequences and to really pull these fights off herself is pretty impressive. I think really John Wick has set the level of actors actually trying to do their own type of fighting styles. And for this movie, I'm happy that she was able to provide that. And she looked like she was really doing well with all the hand to hand combat and gunplay. But really, Ana de Armas, I think, is a very underrated actress. Gorgeous actress, too. Beautiful. Oh my God. But really a talented actress, and I really think that a movie like this really showcases that she can be more than just being serious, dramatic, or any other lead or center character. I think she can really play a character that can really showcase how badass she can really be. And like I said, she already proved that a little bit in No Time to Die with the scenes that she was in with Daniel Craig. But this movie, she goes all out in this movie, hands down, just nitty gritty, beats the crap and kills every single living person throughout this film, and it was always awesome to watch her do it. All the other supporting cast are amazing, and of course, Keanu Reeves, I cannot deny that. He's in it, and with the scenes and the reasonings behind what he does in the film makes sense, and I think it all works out really well. And as much as I understand people will make fun of Keanu Reeves for his acting, at this point in my life and have seen not only all the John Wick movies, but also just knowing Keanu Reeves and how he's always been for a long time. Like, at this point, I'm not really expecting much. He makes up for it in the action department. And you know what? I'll take that over, saying that he's a thespian. And I'm not asking that for a series that is known for a literal boogeyman of a figure like Keanu Reeves to give, like, a award-winning performance of some sorts, but I always have a fun time watching him. The direction is on point. Director Wiseman taps into the slick and violent world of John Wick with ease, matching the same energy that Chad Stahelski brought with each film. Every film in the John Wick universe just somehow always keeps the steady or just elevates the momentum of how the film gets. Chad Stahelski knew this, and I think also director Wiseman does the same thing. I think he understands what makes this world so unique and so interesting, and what really makes the underworld of assassins so compelling to watch, as much as it can get ridiculous. But that's the charm of it. There's a fun but also ridiculous nature to it, and I think Wiseman does that pretty well, and it doesn't feel like 100% copy and paste of what Chad Stahelski did with the main series. It really does feel like he added his own type of flair to how this spin-off movie would be. And if he continues to do another one after this, fine. But I truly think that he was able to make this feel like it is part of the universe and not feeling like it is the odd man out. The action is versatile. Every action sequence feels intense and brutal as it keeps going. Also, some of the kills start to become so explosive as well as insane. There are a multitude of times throughout this movie in the action department where it just gets ridiculous. There's a point where Eve, all I'll say is it involves grenades, okay? She just tosses those things around and she murders the hell out of these goons in so many glorious and gory ways. I loved it every time. But the action itself, as much as people could say, well, yeah, it's John Wick action, but there's more to it because the Armas and really the fight choreographers had to think, well, she has to be a little bit different than John Wick. So how do we do that? Unlike John Wick, she is able to use her environment. She literally picks up anything around her surrounding area and uses that shit as a weapon, a deadly weapon. Even if it is something that you may not think is that deadly, she knows how to turn it into it because she is versatile and very smart and resourceful in an area where you can probably have, I don't know, a stick. It could be a regular stick, but she'll pick that shit up and throw it at you. Every chance that she gets to find any creative ways to dispatch any sorts of enemies, it's always awesome. The music is effective. Composers Tyler Bates and Joel J. Richards invokes the styling and vibes of the series, showcasing the tone. John Wick has the moody, eerie, and very techno vibes that most neo-noir thrillers usually have, and this movie is no exception. But it does follow with how the music in the previous John Wick movies tends to be. Usually whenever it's like a nightclub type of vibe that they're going for, but really making it more intense whenever the action is on display. And I think they do really well of making it feel as if it is in the John Wick universe, but not to the point of it has to just be only John Wick doing it. It can be anybody doing it, and thankfully, in those sequences where the Armas is kicking a lot of ass, when that music happens, it's perfect. Cinematography is sleek. Cinematographer Romain Lecroix-Bess delivers on the look and feel of the series, making sure it is seen from a great distance. I love action movies that have a wide scope. Okay, I do not like that shaky cam up close and personal bullshit. Okay, I like it when I can see the action on full display. I can witness the carnage and chaos from beginning to end, and every time it happens, it is so amazing. Also, the scenery in like the snowy village side. That looked gorgeous. That looked amazing. I think that is really beautiful to look at and a really great location to have for great scenery of action, but also just location and how it is showcased in the film is all done amazingly. Production is stellar, just like the main series. The fight choreography, sets, locations, and props are always top notch with regards to action. All the more, everyone on set brought out their hard work. If there's one thing I love about the John Wick movies is that you can tell how much the props department, fight choreographers, sets, they play a big part in these movies, and they all work seamlessly. Because any chance to make this feel of really good action quality is always met every time. There's not been a single time in the John Wick films that I was ever feeling not enough hard work was put in. No, every time I saw it, it always looked amazing, and it is on display any chance it gets in this movie. The pacing and runtime fits, though it varies on each of the films in the series because most of the time the John Wick films tend to do very well with pacing, except for one maybe for me. This one hits the mark. With a runtime of 2 hours and 5 minutes, it doesn't go overboard. It knew where to stick within its lane and when to just get on out of here as possible, and there's no post-credit scenes or anything like that. And for this film to just knew when to be done, I like that. While enjoyable, it does have some faults that are pretty noticeable for me, and ones that, if you ask me, do kind of hurt the movie. Here are the negatives. The villain is boring. The Chancellor and his cult don't provide much of intrigue and memorability. They end up being forgettable by the end. Gabriel Byrne, I know he is an actor that a lot of people have great respect for, but in this movie, he's fine. But I also just think that the character is just not interesting and not posing any sort of threat because he's just one of those villains that just gives orders, talks, monologues. That's it. You can find that villain in any other movie, anytime. And he's just no different. And the cult that he has, I think there's an interesting idea, but they don't go any further than that. The story is thin. Although revenge has always been a part of the franchise, it's been there since day one. It's not as strong as previous entries. It's mostly helped by the actors in action, if you ask me. Really, this is more of a spectacle of the action really taking front and center. And while I don't think necessarily the story is considered terrible, I just think that if somebody were to ask me if this story holds up in comparison to like the first John Wick, no, I would find the first John Wick to be more interesting. And it's not to say that it's the actor's faults. It's just that for me, the story is just kind of alright, kind of standard. And I know so many people could say that the first John Wick is very standard with regards to its story, but there's a little bit more intrigue because the world building helps flesh out the story a little bit better. Here, and this is another problem, the world building is lackluster. Every film builds upon each one, but there isn't much here. Aside from one added lore which has to deal with the Risk of Roma and the cult in this movie, it's pretty much the same. And I think that's what also kind of hurts this film, in that the story and the world building, if the world building is strong enough, it can help the story along. But when you have no world building, if it is like not really there, then the story also suffers as well, because then it just starts to feel like, all right, you're in the universe, but I also feel like there's no weight to this. There's no add lore. There's nothing interesting. It just kind of feels like, all right, yeah, I've seen this, but yep, I know the rules. Breaking continental grounds, you become excommunicado or killed by members of the Continental. So, I mean, that's just what it is. But I wish there was more add lore to this, because in that way it would have helped the story, I think, a lot better. But really, on its own, the world building here is just, it really is non existent. It's just there to just say, hey, it's a John Wick movie. If you know the rules, if you've been along with this series, you know what you're getting into, so don't ask for much. If you're going for the action, this is for you. If you love the John Wick universe, but you love it for just the action, I mean, you'll go into this and you'll have a good time. Even with this being a spin-off, the John Wick effect is on full display here. The writing is all over the place. John Wick himself isn't even in this, okay? There's no escaping the Baba Yaga's influence throughout this film series. It might be my least favorite in the series, but it's still a fun time. I still think I had an enjoyable time watching it. Even if it is not my favorite one, I still enjoy it overall, and I wouldn't mind rewatching it again at some point. But at the moment, yeah, I mean, if you see it once, cool, and have a good time with it. I'm going to give Ballerina a 7 out of 10. It's a good time. For John Wick fans, they'll get a kick out of this. They'll love it. I think they'll love Ana de Armas in this movie, kicking a lot of ass and doing a lot of badass things, and hopefully she can continue on playing this character, because even I will agree. I found her character to be really interesting and fun, and I think they can do so much more with her. But at the time being, I'm happy with the result of this movie, and also, too, rest in peace to Lance Reddick, man, with this being his last final appearance in this series, but thankfully he had one last time to shine. So I will be soon doing a review for 28 Days Later. So yes, look forward to that review and other reviews coming soon.